From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Ticats Today with Brayden Neville.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of Ticats Today. I'm Brayden Neville right here on this Monday, June the 5th, 2023. The Ticats, they returned to Tim Hortons Field this morning following a busy, very busy weekend in Ticats land, and we have a lot to get to today. We will also be speaking to Coach O, Tim White, Seth Small, and of course, Simoni Lawrence as we chatted with them following today's practice. Now, the Ticats, they were in action on Friday for their final preseason game against the Montreal Alouettes. The Ticats, well, they fell short to Montreal, losing 25-22, but it was more a game for some of those younger guys to get in some reps and show what they can do at camp. Ticats veterans were virtually all resting, so not much to dive into about the game. All in all, I thought the guys played well as they looked to secure some of those final roster spots that were up for grabs. Quarterbacking duties were turned over to Matt Shiltz and rookie Taylor Powell. Shiltz had a solid first half. He completed 12 of 16 passes for 162 yards with 2 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Now, his first 3 passes of the game fell incomplete, but then he seemed to kind of get into that groove against the Alouettes. He closed the game out going 12 for 13 on the rest of his passes. He also had that incredible 51-yard run. It was an exciting play. It just seemed like there was no one around him for so long, and a great play by him. So total, he produced 213 total yards of offense in just 2 quarters. So a great showing for Matthew Shiltz. 10 different Ticats caught passes, with 9 of them getting multiple receptions, and it was Terry Godwin who led the way for Hamilton in receiving yards with 77, averaging 25.7 yards per reception. So a great game for him. He even had that 21-yard touchdown reception from Matt Shiltz. Now, Hamilton's defense held Cody Fajaro to just 7 of 14, and Caleb Evans also just 7 of 14. So a 50% completion percentage. So the defense did a great job at holding their quarterbacks to somewhat quiet nights. Now, following that game on Friday night, on Saturday, the Ticats did release their final roster. They did make those final releases. There was a couple notables. Pappy White, who played 8 games for Hamilton last season and recorded 31 receptions for 309 yards. He was released. The team also sent receiver Leandre Gallimore to the taxi squad. If you can remember, he had that incredible punt return in that first game against the Argonauts. So he will stick with the team. It'll definitely be exciting to see where he will eventually fit in and when he gets his chance. And running back Tayon Fleet Davis was also sent to that taxi squad. Some exciting young guys who we've seen throughout camp. They're going to be going to that taxi squad to start the season. Hamilton also officially added 4 players to the 6-game injured list. So running back Sean Thomas Erlington, receiver Anthony Johnson, defensive lineman Dylan Wynn, and Cedric Wilcots II will be added to that 6-game injured list, as well as injured receiver Justin McGriff, who was hurt in an off-field accident. So 21 players in total were released. The whole list is up on the Ticats website, and 12 players in total were added to the practice roster. Now, some notables of guys added to the practice roster. We have Patty Burke Jr., Reese Martin, and Robert Panabaker. Those were all guys who were taken in this year's 2023 CFL draft. And we also have Tayon Fleet Davis, as mentioned before, Leandre Gallimore, Carthel Flowers-Lloyd, Dexter Lawson, Niles Pickney, Kendrick Sarter, Will Sunderland, Blake Hayes, and Chris Mulumba will all be added to that Ticats practice roster to start the season. Now, the Hamilton Ticats also announced Monday that the football club has signed national running back Reith Jean Giroux. Now, he most recently spent time with the Calgary Stampeders and Montreal Alouettes after being selected by Montreal in the 5th round of the 2022 CFL draft. Now, also, American place kicker Seth Small has returned. We will be hearing from him. But first, as always, we'll go to Coach O, who spoke to media following the first practice at Tim Hortons Field. All right, so Coach, back at Tim Hortons Field for practice. How was it being back?
Yeah, it's nice just to get into your, familiar surroundings and get to work, right? Everybody's familiar. They can get back in their locker. There's no more moving around, that sort of thing. So those are things that come around every year, and then it's really about the work you get done. So we're pleased with how it started with meetings, and obviously I like the way that we moved around out there today.
And then Seth Small returned today. Is it nice to have him back in the roster?
Yeah, Seth, it's good to have him in the building. Thought the other two guys did a phenomenal job for us, and we were kind of aware of Seth's situation, but until he shows up here on campus, you never know. So it was good to see him smiling, and I know he's a happy father and a happy Ticat right now. So great to have him back. You could tell the guys were excited also. I mean, the statistics are the statistics. I think sometimes what those don't tell are just the timeliness of them, if you will, and it's the pressure situations. There's a lot more into it than just, 14 or 15 or, whatever it may be. He's just, he's a pro. He's a great person. He doesn't seem to get rattled. And if he does, he doesn't show it. He's just a pro, and, it's always in the results. But, it is nice to know that, if you do have a drive and it ends, you always want to end in touchdowns. I'd rather he lead the league in extra points. But in the event that we don't score, it's nice having somebody with that accuracy.
And then the trade for Jonathan Kongbo, why'd you want to go out and get him?
Well, sometimes you're not searching. Sometimes you get calls from other teams on certain things. It's not always as things appear, right? So, when we knew that there was, there was a little bit of shopping him around, we kind of huddled up and thought, is there a fit? Is there anything for us? And then from there, it always takes two teams to make a deal happen. So sometimes things just work out in a certain way, and this is one of those times. Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't know if you can. It's like anything in business. I don't know if you can have enough great people around, and so this is just, we're adding value to value. This isn't, how it plays out at this point in time. I'd be lying if I said this is the exact plan. We just acquired a person that's, capable of filling in, and I can't exactly spell out what that means right now.
That was Coach O following today's practice, and as I mentioned before, the Ticats were very busy over the weekend, and that continued today as they announced that they have traded for national defensive lineman Jonathan Kongbo from the BC Lions in exchange for BC's fourth-round pick in the 2024 Canadian Football League draft. And funny enough, that was the pick that the Ticats acquired in exchange for Dane Evans back in February. Now, Kongbo spent time with the BC Lions this year and has played 26 games over 2 seasons in the CFL with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in 2019 and 2021. He had registered 28 defensive tackles, 1 special teams tackle, and 4 quarterback sacks. Now, the 6'5", 266-pound defensive lineman also spent some time in the NFL, most recently with the Denver Broncos, and he registered 1 defensive tackle. Kongbo spent time with the San Francisco 49ers in 2020, and he played his collegiate football at the University of Tennessee. So an interesting move by the Ticats as they prepare for that first game of the season against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this Friday. As I mentioned before, kicker Seth Small, he made the return to the field for the Ticats today. Seth was the guy last year at kicker for the Ticats, going 39 for 43 in 14 games last season, and he spoke to the Ticats audio network following today's practice at Tim Hortons Field about his return to the team.
Feels like home. It was good to be back and just shake everybody's hand, get everybody a hug, and it just feels like home. Obviously, I'm missing being away from my wife and our daughter, but it's good to be home.
And, new addition to the family. How's it been being a father?
Oh, I can't even put it into words. I might start crying. So,
okay.
No, it's amazing. My wife is a warrior. I think giving birth is the hardest thing that you can do on this planet. And to watch her go through that, I mean, she's my best friend. To watch her transition into motherhood, and then also for myself to be a father now, it's just, you wake up every morning and you're like, wow. You kind of don't believe it. But no, it's good to be back here, and thankful that the Ticats let me have some time with them before, kind of let them get settled and everything, and then come up here. And they'll be joining in a couple weeks.
Obviously, your mind was probably a little bit elsewhere when you were gone from the team, but were you able to kind of do a little bit of training and try to do something?
A lot of bit of training. I actually had a lot of fun. I got an off-season job selling like 2 to 20 acre ranches with a company called Big Country Land and Lakes. Shout out Greg and Vinny and the Big Country SWAT team there. That was a lot of fun. But no, kicking is my therapy, and even if it wasn't my profession, I'd still be kicking and still be training just because I enjoy it so much.
Now, your first game this Friday against the Blue Bombers, obviously there's a history there over the last several years, and you are two teams that people are saying are going to be two of the top teams possibly this season. How important is it to start the season off with a victory against a team like Winnipeg?
It's important to start any season off with a victory, but right now we just take it one day at a time, and you kind of just be present in the moment, do the right things, and then the results will be there. Doesn't matter who it's against.
That was Seth Small, a guy that, well, a lot of people are happy to see back in the black and gold and to make a much-anticipated return to today's practice. Now, another guy who's been here all camp long and who's been in Hamilton for a very long time, well, that is Simoni Lawrence. And he chatted with me and the rest of media today to talk about being back at Tim Hortons Field and the upcoming game with the Blue Bombers. Simoni, back at the Donut Box, back here at Tim Hortons Field. Is it nice being back here?
It's an amazing feeling just to be back at the Tim Hortons football field. Just be with the guys in these amazing facilities, the amazing staff. We really enjoy working here.
Now, that game coming up against the Bombers, a lot of people have you guys being two of the top teams in the league. Is that kind of a good way to test yourself as a team, just to play that first game against Winnipeg?
Playing against Winnipeg is a great way to start the season. They've been to the Grey Cup the past 3 seasons. So and we've always been a standard in this league since we've been here in 2013. So it's going to be a fun game. It's what the people want to see.
And kicker Seth Small, he returned today. Is it nice to get him back here?
Of course. It's great to have Seth here. Daddy Seth, he just had a kid. I bet that was hard leaving. He'd be a first-time father and stuff and come out here with the boys. He came out here today, closed practice with like an 80-yarder. So that's always good. You shout out to Seth.
Does the mentality kind of change a bit now? Like the training camp's over, you're in season mode. Is it kind of the mindset kind of shift into like it's time to get started here?
I feel like Coach O does such a great job preparing us. Like every week's a game week, even in the camp atmosphere with that. So it's not going to be too much. You're going to have to pay a lot more attention to detail on the opposing team that we're facing. So as far as like preparation and getting ready for teams, that's going to definitely ramp up because we know who we're playing every week. We know who we're gaming against. But overall, I think our coaches and the whole coaching staff do such a great job as getting us ready to play and perform at a high level.
That was Simoni Lawrence following today's practice at Tim Hortons Field. Now, Tim White, he has been an absolute focal point at the receiving corps for the Ticats over the last couple of seasons, and last year was his best year yet. I wanted to talk to him about how he's been shaping up for this upcoming season, and I also wanted to catch up with him and ask about that upcoming game on Friday. So, Tim, back now at Tim Hortons Field for practices. Is it kind of nice to be back here?
Yeah, it's definitely nice being back in the facility. It feels like season's about to start, so that's definitely exciting.
And now also, last year you had a career year in pretty much every category. Are you kind of looking at yourself to build off of that season from last year and setting new goals, maybe to go even better this year?
Yeah, I definitely have much bigger goals, but obviously the team comes first, so that's my main focus, and I just try to focus in on the moment, and the time right now is just helping all the guys get ready, to play and making sure that we put the best team out there this week.
Game against the Blue Bombers on Friday, obviously a team that's had a lot of success over the last few years, and a team you guys have had some pretty big battles with. Is it going to be kind of a great test just to open it up against the Blue Bombers?
Yeah, I think any team wants to open up against the best, and I think it's a great opportunity for us, to see where we're at, and they're obviously a great team in execution, so it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a great battle. I think it'll be great for the fans, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
And now, does the mindset kind of change? Like, okay, it's season starting here. Like, we're ready to go here for the games that matter.
I think getting in, the mentality's kind of been the same all training camp, and now it's just carrying it through, and also raising the bar. Obviously, right now we have to work with a sense of urgency, because we know what time it is. And in training camp, we were focused on us. So right now, it's focusing on the game plan and what we need to do to execute to win.
You've gone through a whole training camp now with Bo at QB. What have you noticed from him over the last couple of weeks?
I think the biggest thing is his leadership, his ability to take over. In the huddle, he commands the huddle extremely well. And he knows what he's doing. You know, he's a guy with tremendous amount of experience at a high level. So I think that makes it easy for a lot of guys to kind of, you know, trust him. So I think it's a great thing.
And now Seth came back today. Is it nice just to have him return to the locker room?
Definitely. You always need that swag at kicker, you know. So he brings definitely a lot of positive energy. You know, it's super good to have him back, and I'm excited to see what he does.
I would like to thank Tim White, Simoni Lawrence, Seth Small, and Coach O for being on today's show. It was great to see the team out on Tim Hortons Field practicing as they prepare for that much-anticipated matchup with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this Friday in Winnipeg, between two teams with, well, a lot of expectations heading into this season. It's an exciting time as we are inching closer and closer to kicking off the 2023 season. That's all the time for me today. Make sure to tune in next time to Ticats Today right here on the Ticats Audio Network.